2 more weeks, man. 2 more weeks. Howdy, what's good, Bucs fans? You are watching another episode of Bucs Report, the Aftermath. You got AJ Turn up right here. Then we got my co-host, man, Coach Slick, the British guy who's always flying on standby. First off, Slick, how you doing tonight?
I'm feeling good, baby. We win a game, so it's always nice. We always want to have a win in that column. Just get the momentum going. You get the juices flowing. We know we can win. We know it's preseason. It doesn't mean anything, but bit of belief in the players, especially without so many non-starters not there. It's a great win, and it's against a team that's people have kind of said some nice things about, and a lot of people expecting them to do much better than we are realistically. And we kind of punched them in the mouth a little bit. No, yeah, they didn't have Aaron Rodgers play, but we didn't have what we needed playing either. So
not at all. I'm with you 100%. I think even this with Aaron Rodgers, the thing is the Bucs. They can talk all they want, but the reserves showed a lot more effort and heart than the Jets. This is why I'm not a big fan of Hard Knocks, because it's too much fakeness. It's a lot of fake, and it can take away the concentration of your team. So the Bucs, I love that I think they're getting back to the point where they're saying, you know what, we need to take all this.
Make it our fucking show.
And make it our fucking show, because we know already we're going to be on the 1 o'clock slots for most of the season. But Buc fans, as you already know, you can always watch Bucs Report, the Aftermath. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And guys, always feel free to chime in. Always chime in. We got Slick and me. You can debate us. If you feel like we're wrong about something, by all means, we love to have Buck talk, because that's what we do here. And we got a long list of things we can discuss tonight. First thing I want to finally address, Buc fans, it's official. Yesterday, Bowles made Baker Mayfield the starter. Now, am I surprised? No. However, for Bucs fans, the whole point I'm telling you this right now, get behind the quarterback. No matter who he is, if you like him or not, or what he's done in the past, that shit is irrelevant here. He's got a fresh start. Let's see what he does. Let's support him first. I'm gonna give Baker 4 games just to see what happens. But that's just me. That's just how I am at this point. What about you, Slick? Baker's the starter.
I'm not surprised. It was surprising that it was as close as I thought it would be, to be honest. I was expecting this to be like a kind of one and done kind of. But I think Trask has really shown that he can lead a team. He has shown that he can throw the ball. He can be accurate. He can make less mistakes. So there's been a couple of good points for him to develop him as a backup and potentially starting the season if things don't go well. It means the Buccaneers now have a solid choice of backup. And John Welford, thank God, come back to practice, which is always good to hear. He's also going to be there too. So the Buccaneers at quarterback, yeah, we don't have elite guys, but we look like we've got guys who can play. And that's, for me, that's the big thing. We look like we've got guys who can play. With Baker, we've got to be all in on him. We've got to be all in. I bet we were all in. Come on, guys. We've got to remember one thing. We've had Josh Freeman as our quarterback, and we were still tooting that horn. We had Josh McClown with his fucking tears on fucking the podium. I support any guy who straps on a Bucs uniform unless they've done something like checkered in their past that is almost irredeemable, right? And that's got to be something that, that's a personal thing. That's a personal thing, right?
Right. I enjoy the competition.
Yep.
For Buc fans, you really should go back and check the last episode we just had this past Sunday on the competition of what Canales was doing. Slick made great analysis. We had a great conversation, so please check that out, because I am with Slick on this. I love the Canales' approach. I guarantee you, had there not been these two guys fighting for a position, we would be saying the completely different things about Trask in a negative way, Buck fans. I'm telling you right now, for the most part, the fan base would have immediately said Trask is nothing. He's no good. He's no good to the Bucs. It was a waste. But this is why competition is good. Sometimes sometimes this might work out in the team's best interest, because when we had Brady last year, the expectations were far high because he's Brady. But it was a combination of so many things. Byron's incompetence, Brady's off-field issues, and then one of the most important things, in my opinion, Father Time. We might not want to admit it, Buck fans, and a lot of Brady fans don't want to admit it. Father Time might have come back on Brady, and this is why I enjoy having a young, hungry quarterback. Baker Mayfield is still young and mobile. This is I feel like Canales' offensive scheme is going to work best with all the weapons. But now that you have a mobile quarterback, defenses cannot just focus on destroying the pocket. Now it's, oh shit, we got a guy who can move. What's up, Giovanni? Yes, sir.
Giovanni, go. Bake, Buck Nation, bake. I love it. Hey, we got to get behind that guy. It doesn't matter who that guy is. If he can lead us, brilliant. Will we care if someone turns around to us and say, "Oh, we got Baker Mayfield. Right on paper, wasn't the greatest quarterback in the world, and he leads us to a 9-8 season." I will be over the moon with a 9-8 season, considering how badly we're written off. And if that wins the division, then so freaking be it.
I think we will. You just said it. if the Bucs win 9 games this season, Buck fans, that's
as long as they take care of business in the division, because you can win 9 games, but you need to win those divisional games, and you need to beat the divisional leader. So if that happens to be the Saints, if you pump 2 on the Saints, there's no way the Saints are going to finish higher than you when you've beaten them twice. It's unlikely, right?
I agree.
But the Buccaneers did it against them. I think what the year we won the first year we won the division with Brady.
No, we lost twice to the Saints.
We lost twice to the Saints, but it's unlikely that a team you beat twice is going to end up finishing above you in the order. You've got to be really poor against a lot of people.
And with the schedule, we've already talked about it, and we'll talk about it again, of course, before the regular season starts. But the schedule favors the Bucs. It's not that many teams we can already get. I can give you 3 that would be okay. They would lose. You got Philadelphia, you got Buffalo, and you got the 49ers. Those are 3 teams where, if I'm as an honest Buck fan, I could say if we lose, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be upset, because
I would go further and say potentially the Lions, but it is creamsicle day, so that could be a thing. That's always something special. Bills, I'm just looking at our schedule. I go Bills, Eagles, and 49ers. So, Bills, Eagles, 49ers, potentially Lions. Other than that, no one really scared me.
And that's what I'm saying. I agree, and that's why the Buck fans, if this team can stay healthy, it's not a stretch. It'd be different if we were in the AFC. Now, if I was talking that shit in the AFC, 10 to 11 wins, then you guys could say you are out of your mind, because I would be. I mean, yes, but it
depends on which part of the AFC you're in.
Oh yeah, hell, even in the AFC
South is pretty easy to. I think you can win that division.
It's AFC.
There's no the Jags are the favored team in that, right? They're on paper the best team, and they're still not great.
Not yet.
Right?
They still got a lot of.
They've shown they've made some really good steps. Floridian Cousins across the other side, the East Coast boys.
Yep,
they've made some good steps, but I don't know if it's enough. I think what they need is to have an all-out superstar wide receiver. That's what they need to like. They need to finish it. They need a finishing touch like a Mike Evans, somebody of that nature. Their receivers are good, but they're not great. They're not going to blow your doors down or anything like that.
Not at all. And I'm glad you mentioned Mike Evans, Buck fans, and for the media. Slick, I don't. People can say this, but we might not get a Mike Evans for a little while. For I'd say another 10 years. I
don't think so. It all depends. It will come down to, like, right now, if I had to look at other people, and I will do in a moment, because it's not that easy. Just you have to search people individually. You can't always check everyone collectively all the time and what seasons they've done what in, right? It all in one spot. Unless you sit there and do the math on it. But it's going to take someone. I'm just trying to think of someone off the top of my head that has gone multiple back-to-back seasons without having one off. And it's my brain is starting to cut off a little bit because I think it's more fresher guys that haven't played, that have only had like 1 or 2 years, maybe 3.
Yes.
So to do that, like I said, Mike Evans has been blessed with one thing and one thing only. If you're going to take away for his talent, is the fact that he doesn't get injured. This guy has not had any off-season surgeries or anything like that. It's all been soft tissue. Yeah, he gets banged up on plays, but he goes straight back in there. You remember the playoff game? I think it was against oh my gosh. I can't remember if it was
Washington,
and they were like, "Oh yeah." But I think Bruce Arians, he's playing. Like he won't let us not let him play.
Yeah, I think you're right. Remember when he caught that last play in Atlanta when he got the 1,000 yards again? We were scared that he was going to be gone. I think Evans made it clear that I'm not missing this fucking opportunity. And we needed a guy like him. We needed Evans in that entire series. I tell everybody.
You know, this week as well, he got the big 30.
Oh, absolutely.
Happy birthday, Evans.
Yeah, I tell people Evans, he was sensational in the Green Bay game because he started off so dominant so early. Look at what the Packers defense had to do. Once Evans was shitting on them in the beginning, they immediately said, okay, we have to take Evans away. That is the respect that Evans get. They like, okay, you can't even get this guy started because if he gets going, now their entire team will go. That's why I love that run in the playoffs because they showed Evans so much respect, but that gave other guys to go off. Scotty Miller, Gronk, Godwin, everybody got off. So if I'm Canales, you got to understand, try to force it to Evans because when you do that, it gives everybody else a chance to get open because now if Evans gets off early, I think it's over. I don't think that many teams can beat us. A guy like Evans, and then with the weapons we have, because that's where Godwin comes in out of nowhere. Oh shit, this guy's going off too. Damn.
It's like two different schools of thought, isn't it? Like with the Tom Brady offense, it was like, who's he going to give the ball to? Because he had so many options, right?
Yep.
So you're kind of almost like you're playing like a whack-a-mole version of like which wide receiver is going to get it. So you can't double anyone because you don't know who's going to get it. And then if you go to Mike Evans a few times, they're going to start doubling him, which will open everyone else up. So it's a completely different kind of thought processes. Tom Brady's is very much, I'm going to just keep giving it to different guys until I strike hot with one, and then I'll play with that person a little bit more, and I'll rotate the ball around again still. Because you always hear quite often, it'd be about the middle of the game, they're like, that's like the 7th person that's caught a ball off Tom Brady today.
Yes.
You know, that's unusual considering you only carry two tight ends, and depending on what your set was. But if we were a tight end, 3 wide receivers, and 1 running back, for 7 people to get the ball, that means some reserve guys have come in and got balls too. So he was very much of like, you don't know where he was going to strike, but if you let them know where you're going to strike, then they'll sell out for it, and then you can go somewhere else. So there's a different.
Yeah, and what Brady did is a rarity. That's why he's the GOAT. He did certain things where, okay, I'm just gonna find this person and not just I'm gonna find him at the right time. Brady always knew, okay, this is gonna happen right here, and I'm gonna give it to you. Nobody knows that but me. But and like you said, it can work both ways. It's very hard to do it that way. But with Baker, just because we have a guy who knows how to get it off the script. He knows how to, what's the word that I'm looking for? He just knows how to just do it off the break. He can adjust and move and make a move and ad lib and then launch that shit with the play breaks down. Because I guarantee you right now at this moment, everybody knows the biggest concern is the offensive line. It's not going to be perfect in the first season, in the first couple weeks. And speaking of that, Jensen is not going to be playing against the Vikings week 1.
I've heard it's day to day, and it's not guaranteed, but it's it's very unlikely that he'd be playing.
Yeah, it's very, and that's why I'm
But
not even.
we got our dude, and we had our dude filled in and did a freaking good job. His
Yeah.
rating through the roof as a center. He was through the roof. The one thing that a lot of people would say that we were lacking was because I would say he was like the champion of that offensive front, right? So he probably pushed people to like block harder, block longer. He was probably better for the whole of that unit.
Yes.
But I think as a single dude on his own who had to do a job in Robert Hainsey, I think he did a heck of a job, and he was rated like, I think middle. He was considered just above. I think just above average. He was considered an above average center. So to have an above average center as your backup is pretty darn good, in my opinion. I'll take an above average center.
That's damn good because Christopher Cole, I agree. If he can be just above average, we're gonna have wide ass open receivers. Yes, that is one thing. And I know we're jumping the gun here, but if Palmer goes off, you're talking about the Bucs will have the best 3 receiving core in the league. I don't give a damn what nobody says, because one thing about the Bucs receivers, all of them, it's damn near impossible for one corner to shut them down. Evans, when he can go off, it's a wrap. Godwin, they can get open. Palmer, as we know, with his speed alone, you're going to have to honor it. If they put a weak nickel on him, it's over. If they put a linebacker on him, it's really over. We also got to give Cade Otton love, like we always talk about. Like you, Slick, I expect a lot out of Cade Otton, especially in the short passing game. I don't think they're going to use him yet for the big.
I think he's a third down target.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a third down target.
And then probably like that read that you have, like if you first, he'd probably be like a second read, because obviously when you teach a quarterback to read, you don't want him to just read like this. You want him to kind of go 1, 2, 3, and there, or have his bounce his peripheral vision off his 1 and 2, his Z and his X, but it'll be like that. Bounce off those 2. Look at this guy, which will probably be the tight end, and then a dump off, possibly a slot somewhere. But I do believe he will get his line share, because he already shown that he can play ball, right? And he showed in the last game he had a fair few where he caught the ball before the line to gain, and he just crept over it, and it was enough to get change it. Now we know when it probably wasn't their ones, or it might not have been all of their ones, but it's signs of progress. And we all said, me and you, flat out said last year, they need to get Cade on the ball. He is the guy that nobody cares about, that nobody is truly looking at, because why should they?
Right.
And that's how you build, and that's how you turn around and go, right, okay, who's the second coming of Gronk? This guy's, I'm not saying he is, but like that's how you put it in. It's like, okay, I'm going to use this guy as I would use Gronk. It's a shame that we didn't pull Gronk to camp and spend some time with this dude so he could get him like Gronk-esque.
I agree. I love the fact that when they use him, he fights for yards, and he's very fluid in his running. We've talked about that before.
He can break very, very well.
Yes, so that is going to be really good. He now sometimes, if I want to be creative and nasty with it, put him in a bunch or use him in trips.
Yeah, nasty bunch. You put him on that nasty bunch. You have him just disconnected from the line of scrimmage. You can have him connected if you really want to. It doesn't make too much of a difference.
Yep.
You could have him have that little under route. You could have him with a little screen, or you could have him lead block and then someone else takes the screen. Chris Godwin on screen's always been useful in recent years. Maybe not last year, but he's been a good screen guy. So, Mike Evans blocking with Cade Otton blocking. That could be fun.
Exactly. And now I do want to go into the game. The Bucs will be playing Saturday at 7 against the Baltimore Ravens. We already know Baker Mayfield has the job, so that's good. I want to ask, what exactly? Give me 3 players on offense and 3 players on defense that you are looking to see to be really good, a good asset as a starter, possibly. Another guy that you see that has potential to be a rotator, and then someone who could just make the damn roster on offense and then defense.
On offense. Okay, so the one thing I generally want to see is just if we do finally get all the starters together on one, so the Mike Evans, I want to see a touchdown, or at least a very consistent drive. Maybe a penalty kills it, or something stupid, something kills it off. I can live with that. But there's potential of like, okay, this is what the Buccaneers offense really looks like. That's what I want to see from the off. The one thing I need to see is the run game. Now we're gonna probably put out a day. I would guess we're gonna put out a day one line, what it is right now.
Yeah.
Can someone like Rachaad White move the football? Because this is a good front we're going up against. It's not a poor front at all. It's a really good front. So I want to see if we can move the ball. We're talking about players, guy to make the roster. It's going to be a wide receiver. It's going to have to be a wide receiver because it's the one room where we're a little bit lacking in the sense of once you get past guy number 3 or potentially guy number 4. So that means there's 2 spots technically open if you like 5 or 6 wide receivers. Myself, I would probably go down to 6 unless there's a tight end with really good receiving potential that it doesn't matter.
Right.
Then you can flex them out as a wide out, right? Or a slot. So I'm looking at the guys like Kenya. Oh God, Geiger.
Yeah, Geiger.
He's the guy I'm looking at to see if he can scrape into this roster. I think he's one with the best opportunity to scrape into the roster right now. Maybe more as well. He's got an opportunity. But those 2 spots I would expect to be taken by those. But there are other people on their heels. We only talking offense or the whole team?
Defense. You can go to defense too. Yeah. Let's go to
the corners. I actually don't know where our corners are once we get past corner number 3. Corner number 4. So who's going to be that 5th spot? That's a real big battle. I do think they will go. I do generally think they will go with obviously who we know the 2 starters, and then I think it will probably be Zion McCullum, D. Delaney, and then it's going to be someone else. And I hope it's Isaacs. I really like him. He's done some really good things for us. That's the battle. So those are the guys that kind of want to see try and make the roster. Someone who's making the roster but want to make some noise. Palmer. It's got to be Palmer because the more he shows, the more I think at ease he puts Buck Nation at, right? Yes. Because he's got 2 preseason snags. How cool would it be if he gets a 3rd one with the ones as a slot receiver with Baker Mayfield? So it's a 2nd from Baker. Then you're like, okay, I don't feel worried that Russell Gage is not in this game anymore. We've got a guy. I'm not saying that we don't have a guy. I'm just saying you see it more, and the proof's in the play. That's what my belief is. Yeah. And I think if he can do this and he puts his name on it, then it's absolutely fine. One player like I just hope has a good game is probably Luke Goedeke. Not because he's poor, because he was better in the last game. I definitely did not hear his name as much called and didn't see him make as many poor plays or what have you. But it's consistency. And it's the one part of this offense, as I said to you when we did draft Cody Muck, I was like, that's great. He seems like a cool guy. He seems like a great guy to have on the team. But where's my tackle? Me and you were all predicting tackle somewhere. We didn't go tackle. We went for another guard. I was like, okay, well, are they going to put him at left tackle? And what does it all look like? So there's a lot of pressure on Luke Goedeke to perform at the left tackle position, just because of what that really means. You know how many we've had right tackle position. Mm-hmm. We've had other tackles, Donovan Smith, who've been fucking almost look like human turnstiles or whatever. Look, there's a reason he's still in the league. He's obviously talented. But there were times where we would be like, how, why, and because his lowlights were awful. His highlights were good too, though. His highlights, when he did bully someone and boss him around, he really did, especially in the run game. Run game seemed to be more his forte.
Yeah.
So we know what a poor offensive tackle looks like. And it's going to be a long ass season if you've got another. You just basically got a cheaper version of the guy we just had.
I know, and
So
I
I'm
love that.
hoping, I'm
Yeah,
believing, I just want to see more consistency. He's going out with the ones. Hopefully they play their one, so we can really see like he's going to go up against. Who did they just sign? Did they get Jadeveon Clowney?
J- uh, the I
I
think that
think the
I
Ravens
think
did.
it is Baltimore. Yeah, I think it is Baltimore. You're right.
I mean, he's not the scariest of pass rushers of all time or anything because he's never had like I don't think he's ever had 10 sacks in his career. I
No,
don't think.
he's just
But
been a
but he's a nasty player, and that's the kind of player caliber you want him to go up against
mm-hmm.
day in day out. So or game in game out because those are the kind of guys that are hungry to hit your quarterback. So that's
Yeah.
what I want to see. How about yourself, man?
Yeah, offense. I'm going to the run game with Rashad White. I need to. If you want to be a starter, this is why I said he needs to be the star. We've seen the potential, but I want to see more. I want to see more consistency. I want to see more explosive runs. I want to see more pass catching. The way that they utilized Leonard last season, he is gonna have to because it's already immense pressure on him because in the fan base there are people who doubt Rashad. Says he might be better off as a backup. Like he would be better suited like Tony Pollard is in Dallas.
Those are
And
the people who want us to end up signing Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor, that's my yep. And a lot of
We'll go there in just a minute because you got to do your thing, but we'll talk about a little bit of JT action after. But
yes.
there is, and I just want to reiterate to the point that you just said. We don't know what he looks like because he's shown us mega talent, especially like the Seattle game in Germany. He's shown us that he's capable, but this is the next step, right? But if you don't let someone have that next step, you're never going to find out if they're ready for that next step. And I think the Buccaneers so backroom staff, coaching staff, the whole team believe there's something more there that meets the eye.
Mm-hmm.
But continue, my good sir.
No, yeah. So that's what I need to see. The next guy that I know that I say that I need to see him be an immediate impactor on the roster is Palmer. I want to see that because one, he has taken the number 10, so he's replacing a guy that gave us an iconic moment. That's arguably between the second and third greatest Buck.
It's definitely in the top 10. Yeah, that's
definitely
without a shadow of a doubt. It is in the top 10, potentially top 5.
Yes, I would say top 5. So that's what I'm saying. He's replacing him. But what I see, the potential that I see in Palmer, I see that he could be a more utilized Scotty Miller because we knew Scotty was he got a little better in certain aspects of passing, but I see Palmer actually picking up where Miller should have. I don't see Palmer the type of guy when he's wide open and Baker throws him a pass, he jumps instead of just catching it in stride and going. I see that, and I want to see more of that. I want to see a lot more of his durability like they did in week 1 against the Steelers. He wasn't just catching bombs, he was catching short plays, and he's durable.
I completely agree.
Yeah, his durability is what I need. Now, the guard that I want to see is I just want to see what Mock is going to be like. I want to see him be, especially in the run game, because the line in this run game has got to be nasty. I want to see Cody Mock and see what he's going to be like against these guys. That's why I want to see him. Baltimore is a perfect challenge because they're a team that is physical. They don't do finesse. They are nasty, hard-nosed, old school, punch you in the mouth defensive guys. I want to see what Mock is going to do. So that is and then the guy that I want to make the roster, Christopher Cole said it. Shout out to you, Christopher. Raheem Jarrett. I think he has an upside. He's really good at acrobatic catches, and he's good at catching in traffic. I like that. And he runs pretty swift routes. Not the best, but when the ball's in his vicinity, he goes up and grabs it. So I like that. Now on the defensive side, I will go to the guy that I need to be that I want to be a starter is Yaya. want to see Yaya. I think Yaya has the way that he has the potential to be a dual threat, a dual nightmare. I see he is already good at stopping the run. We know that. That pass rush, I think he's going to be a lot more surprising, not in just pass rushing, but pass coverage. I won't be surprised if Bo says, yeah, you're going to jump out of there. You're going to be JPP all over.
Go and fake it. Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. And like you, I want to see the development of Carlton Davis. That is what I want to see. I want to see what he's going to be like on defense. I want to see him catch the ball. I want to see him. I actually want to see him improve in zone coverage. I don't see a lot of that. Sometimes I think that's his weakness because he doesn't have the speed to make up like Dean does, because Dean he can always recover. But I want to see him when they give him that cushion coverage, he makes the better use of it and not get burnt so easily. And then the guy that I'm hoping to make the roster, let's see, on defense. No, not make the roster, but he needs to prove that he deserves to be on the roster is McCollum. McCollum, he did the biggest thing he's done all preseason was that one interception. I need to see.
And it kind of fizzled out.
Yes, and it fizzled out. I think he needs to do soul searching and figure out. And I would ask him, what do you think suits you best in coverage? Are you a zone guy or are you a man guy? I think once they find out the answer to that, I think he'll be just fine. He has the speed. He's getting better with his tackling. So I'm impressed with the tackling because last year it was god awful. I was like, oh my God. And his tackling was bad as his coverage, but he's gotten better with that. So those are the guys that I really want. If McCollum can just be average, I don't need him to be above average. Be average in this front seven. He just needs to be average, and I'll be fine with that. So that is my expectations for this game. That is who we already know. And Trask, one more guy. I just want to see Trask ball out. If I'm Trask, you ball the fuck out. You're not the starter, but you want to give him the reason. Hey, if Baker, God forbid, goes down,
forget about me.
Yes,
and you dare forget about me.
Yes, I want to see him in the starting. If he goes, I want to see if Evans is in there. He takes a deep shot to Evans, just because. I just want to see that. So Trask, ball the fuck out.
And as Christopher Cole says, just don't show too much on Saturday night. I don't think they ever do. I think it's going to be pretty simple ball. No one's ever going to do nothing too crazy because there's no real reason. Like, who cares if you lose? Like, as long in this game for the Buccaneers, the biggest takeaway is how did the starters do? If the starters walk away with a touchdown and they're only in for a quarter, I'd take that because that's on the laws of average. That's 4 touchdowns, right? I'm just spitballing here. I'm hypothesizing, right?
No, I think you're right.
I can live with that. I don't need to see like flash from top to bottom. Of course, that would be lovely because it means it doesn't matter who we plug in, we can still play. We're still playing with these guys. We're still kicking their ass. We're still winning. That's great. But the bare minimum, as long as we walk away with that game and the starters get 1 touchdown within a quarter, I can live with that. And providing the defense doesn't give up touchdowns left, right, and center, I can live with that. So that's the realistics of what we're going to do. And again, remember, we're playing vanilla defense, we're playing vanilla offense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to be expansive. And even then, if we don't score, it's not, again, still not the end of the world, but it's something I'd like to see is that the defense stop a score and let's say keep them scoreless for a quarter or keep them to a field goal or even 2 field goals. As long as we outscore them once the starters are off, I can live with that. I can move on. That's the ideal situation for me. After that, it is literally popcorn moments. And I'm just going, right, who's playing well, who's not playing well? Because we're looking at, once we get past the starters, we're looking at who's playing well to stay on the team and who's playing well enough to get on the team, right? Yeah. We're not looking at the team performance. We're looking at individual performance per se. We want team performance from the starters. We want individual. We like individual. We're looking at, of course, there's still a team playing, but we're looking at individual performance of certain guys are going, all right, well, he did this and he did this and he did this. Okay, that guy, I think, looking at his body of work, hopefully he'll make the team.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now I'm greedy. If the Bucs have their starters in the first quarter and they're playing second and third string, I don't think Baltimore would do that. But if they do, oh no, you shit on them. You
got a bully.
Yeah, you. I'm not saying you got to throw your entire arsenal out there, but you make a statement to your offense. Okay, if they're gonna disrespect us like that, or whatever, we need to go out there. And besides, you want to get game ready, because after this preseason, you'll have another week or so to get yourself together. Now, because I'm a cautious man, Mike Evans, your ass only playing at least 3 possessions. That's it. And you can force it to him twice. That's it. But that's it. Anything else? It's the same with Godwin. So I think Godwin and Evans, you give them 3 to 4 possessions and they're done. This game should be more for Palmer. This should be more for Jarrett. Otten, I want Otten in there. And then Otten should only play. For me, personally, Otten should get the first half, and then the second half it goes to the rest of the tight ends. Let's get a rotation, because we might find out something that is unique about these guys that they can get open better than what Otten is doing, or something, or shit, this guy's good at blocking. So I'm greedy. 14 points. Give me 14 points if you're going to start. Especially if the Baltimore Ravens come out there with second and third strings. I would be,
and that's if it's 1-on-1, give me the 1. But if they're putting 2s out there from the get-go, I would expect us to bludgeon. I would want us to bludgeon them. Go for blood. Smell it. Go for blood.
Thank you. Go for blood. That's what I'm looking for. But Slick, like you said, after the first quarter, we're assessing who's going to be on this roster. We're looking for the guys. We're looking for the diamond in the rough. We're looking for that hidden gem where it's like, oh, okay, he's going to be good enough to where he can become a rotational player. He's good enough to where, oh, okay, if someone goes down, I am comfortable with this guy coming in. And we have really reloaded. Bose has reloaded this front seven, and I am thankful for that. Yaya, JTS, these guys like that. That's a good thing. Golston is back. Logan Hall, I do think he'll have some improvement. So the front seven will not be the problem. We just got to make sure the secondary stays healthy, because we can't afford the secondary to go down as bad as the front seven. Front seven's got a full good depth. Secondary, God forbid, if Dean goes down or Carlton Davis, now you're putting a lot of pressure on Delaney and McCullum if they make it to be that guy. We've already experienced what that was like in 2021 when our secondary was depleted. We don't want to go through that shit again. We don't want to go through that. So that is what I'm expecting. But like you said, after the first quarter, I expect to just see guys fighting for a roster. And that could be fun too. It could be a little boring, but I love the game. So when people say, oh, I just see people messing up. No, I see guys trying. Remember, these guys are new to the league. It's 10 times faster, and not just physical, but mentally. You're literally watching college people coming into a man's league, trying to understand it. And you might see your future Amazon UPS guys out there. So, but at least they tried. But no, that's the beauty of football. It's competition. It's competitive. It shows you why it's so hard to get there.
I see the guys are going to be in the XFL next year.
Exactly. And there's no shame in that. So for those guys out there,
more than me and you can do, buddy. That's the way anyone ever mocks a player, I have a habit of turning around and go, well, okay, well, I saw a great thing the other day. It's like, you can have 10 grand in cash, or you can be the worst team. You can be on the worst team in the NFL, and all you got to do is get 100 yards throwing the football for a whole game. How many idiots are out there going, and you get 100 mil, 100 grand, 100 mil? I'm not stupid enough or retarded enough to believe I can throw for 100 fucking yards. But I'm sure there's definitely people out there, because they'll go, I can make that throw. I can make that throw. I can make. Yeah. Could you make that throw with the read? Could you make it throw with the defense there? You know, it's so much.
Fuck no.
The
As a
one thing
quarter,
I've noticed in my league, because obviously we play a much lesser version of your game. It's more akin to high school, middle school level, depending on where you are in the
yeah,
hierarchy, right?
yeah,
The bottom of this is probably close to middle school, and the highest part is probably close to high school, right?
yeah,
And probably low end high school at that, if truth be told, because we just don't have the infrastructure for you. You know, we're literally an amateur league. But the one thing you find is anytime someone can throw a ball with like no one around them, they're like, oh, that guy's got to be a good quarterback because
right.
just because he can throw the football. Like he's throwing dimes and. But the thing is, anyone can throw a decent ball when there's no one trying to hit them, and you don't have to think about anything but getting the ball to that one person. It's your only thought, right? Your only thought is, AJ, here you go, and your AJ's just going to go, yep, that's fine. We're chilling, we're just throwing. There's no heat on, and there's no real heat on it. We can play about with it and put a bit more heat on it. Maybe I put it a little bit to the left, so you have to stretch for it or what have you. But realistically, there's no stress in what you're doing. Then I add a route. Did you run your route properly? Did I throw the ball where you're going to be? Or did I throw the ball where I thought you were going to be? Things like that make a massive difference. And now you've got someone covering you and someone to the side of you. So you're peering into someone else's coverage, potentially, while someone else is already covering you. So there's so much more. When do you release the ball? How long have I got? You know, there's so much more that meets the eye to football than people just going, oh, yeah, I can throw the football pretty well. So Uncle Rico.
Yeah. If someone tells me that they can just play the quarterback position like that, I'm not even going to take you serious. You're talking about the most difficult position to play. You're talking about, as you said, you have to think of so many things within, you get maybe 3 seconds. And like you said, that's an average team. If you're on a worst ass team, you might get a second and a half to make a decision before these 250-pound guys who are running 4.4s come running at you at full speed. And God forbid, like you said earlier, if you're trying to do this, it's too late. You've gotten hit.
It's too
You've
late.
gotten hit. And what if they disguise it?
There's a reason why AJ quarterbacks stare down at a player. A, because they know that player has got a very good chance of getting open, and B, they do not have the time to look at anything else. So people can go, they didn't go for their reads. I'm like, yeah, but he got hit. He threw that ball under 3 seconds. He wasn't reading shit. He maybe got 1 or 2 reads in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Your brain's got to process. They always say this about like the greats, the Aaron Rodgers, the Tom Brady's, you know, the newer guys that we got in the league, like Josh Allen or what have you, Patrick Mahomes. How quickly they got to dial through all the information to go, no, yes, I'm going to you, or not just yet. Give it a second. Well, not a second, but give it just a bit more. Yep. Now I can go for it.
Absolutely.
There's so much more to it, and it's probably the most difficult position. And I think anyone who's been a quarterback is probably an absolute fucking stud if they went anywhere else in the world.
Right. And God forbid your corner, your DBs disguise
even crybaby Josh
coverage. You might think, oh, he's 6 yards off. Okay, I can easily just throw it to him, not realizing that corner guy probably runs a 4.35 and knows how to jump your route and get faster. Now, and then, like you said, you throw it the wrong way. You think, oh, I'll just lob it or just a quick little zing up, boom. And again, if you they don't even realize how strong, and you might think that quarterback is super unathletic. That's just compared to the rest of the guys in the tire. Those guys are still in fucking shape. Those guys can still throw a ball 60, 70 yards or 50.
It's a different type of workout, isn't it? It's more like a baseball swing, a baseball hitter's kind of workout. Yeah, not worried about like the body and keeping it in prime condition, because their job is to throw a football, and especially if you're a pocket quarterback, so you don't really need to worry about staying in shape in the sense of from a physical standpoint, right? I've seen guys who are big boys who can get around the park, get around the field, and last forever, even with their big body, or move like big guys. We got it in the alley, right? You got guys who can fucking really move, and they're like, oh, this guy's 300 pounds, but he ran a fucking 4.6. And you're like, me, there's wide receivers that struggle to get that. There's tight ends that can't get that.
Nope, and that's why I congratulate these guys just getting there, just getting to that next level is hard, and it got and again it's a small opportunity. It's only 53 men on a roster when at the end of it, so those guys everybody is fighting for it. So shout out to the guys who are playing right now who are fighting for a position, and if you don't get it, I hope to God that maybe later on down the line something else works out for you and you get that call back, because that's another thing these people don't realize. A lot of these guys, when they get released, they it's still pressure because they want to stay in shape just in case they get that call.
Yeah,
How many
cool, yeah.
times Rashad Perriman has been dropped from the Bucs and he gets the call back and says, "Hey man, I hope you're
And
in
he
shape."
bounced around the league too. It's not like he was with the Bucs and he was with the Bucs. He bounced.
Yep, he was a first round pick from the Baltimore Ravens. Then he couldn't do that. Then he got to the Bucs. Then he went to the
I think
Jets.
he was just overdraft. I think if they got him in the 6th round, he'd been absolutely fine. He'd have had he would have been.
Yeah,
I think sometimes that tag of performing too well. Sometimes
yeah,
he's a UCF player, so he probably and there was around the time that they started to build prominence. They probably bludgeoned a team or two now and again, like a good, like I'm just gonna spitball a name just because
yeah.
I don't actually know, but like they may have taken a couple of big name teams out, like an Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
in season, not like in a bowl game or anything, but
Right.
and pipped them, and he might have had one of the big plays that did it. So they're like, oh right, so this guy can play fucking against like these
Yep.
guys. He's good, and it's like working out who. We got Antonio Brown, who was one of the who's probably generationally from a talent point of view one of the better wide receivers in the last. He's I would say he's a generational talent if you take away his fucking mind.
Absolutely. No, hands down.
Right?
Yeah.
But where did he play?
Exactly.
In college. So there's more to it, and I think sometimes a good coach can get more out of you. I'm not saying that happened with AB. I think maybe he had the talent and it took professional coaching to harness it out of him, or maybe he was more dialed in on this first year because he's like, shit, I can make money, but I'm off. I think he was either a low end draft pick or he's a free agent, undrafted free agent. Your mindset has to change. When you're the first round pick, you ain't got nothing to fucking worry about for at least another year, right? You
Yep.
can flame out for an entire year, especially
then,
if you get injured.
Yep.
You get injured, everyone's like, hey, I got injured. It's okay. No worries. They'll brush it off. Because there's hope.
Yep.
Where there's hope, there's always someone going, like, let's see what he can do. Let's see what. And that's why quarterbacks who've gone first round, like your Josh Rosens, they bounce around the league for a little bit before people go, nah, he is shit.
Right. It takes time. And then, yeah.
And he's not actually shit. I mean, obviously compared to us, but I'm just saying to the league, like, and we all thought, like, I remember when we picked him up, I was like, shit, we got Josh Rosen sat behind the man, Tom Brady. Man, if he spends 2 years with this guy, we got instant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, the Buccaneers might have solved their quarterback problem longevity wise as well. Wasn't the big? They got rid of him. They got rid of him because he's got an, I think, attitude problem.
Yeah. It happens, like you said. But this is why I give a lot of respect to those guys. I mean, I'll talk my shit here and there about some of them, but that's a whole other conversation.
At the end of the day, we're likening them to other NFL players, right? If
Right.
there was like a worldwide league, like as big as soccer is in the world,
Yeah.
someone like a Josh McCown, maybe not right now because he's old, but he would still have a job. He, as a professional football player, probably winning championships in Spain or in another country where the talent isn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So right now you've got Messi tearing it the fuck up in and he is a legit freak. But you could probably go and take anybody from the English Premiership and add them to a team, and they're going to be a little bit a good chunk better.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
And I think if someone turned around to you and say you can go and ply your trade. Okay, you didn't make the NFL. NFL Europe existed, right? It's where I try to remember the Rams quarterback. His son's on our team. Kurt Warner. He played in NFL Europe, and they didn't earn a lot of money there, but he made a name big enough that NFL coaches recognized who he was, and then he got the call to the Rams, and he went there. The film doesn't show that. The film showed that he played fucking arena football and was a fucking baller.
Yeah.
And they went, "Oh, we got to sign this guy." No. What actually happened is he got the call to go and play for like the Hamburg Sea Demons or some shit. And he played for I don't know what the team was. I will find that out. And played really well for them. And he's around NFL coaches. These are coaches that either were in the NFL or not anymore, but they know people who are in the NFL and go, "Look, have a check on my quarterback." And this is how a lot of players got back into the game, because they're playing at a high level in Europe. So they go back. And hopefully that's what happens with the league, because that's basically what the NFL wants to do, right? Maybe it doesn't have to be just the NFL, but they have like if the NFL could end up subsidizing a UK league or a European league, right?
Yeah.
And bring back NFL Europe, which is kind of starting to happen already. We already got like the European Football League with the ALF, as it's called. As that builds up, and there's money involved in it, which is, I think there's a trickle of it. As that builds up and builds up more, maybe it can compete against things like the XFL and the Alliance Football, whatever it's called, or whatever, all the different ones that they have, right?
Yeah.
Once you have that, then you have multiple leagues that people go leave college. They could still be imagine being paid $150,000 to play football.
That would be dope.
It would be, and it would be dope, because you're probably not going to. Most people aren't going to get, coming out of college, aren't always going to get jobs at entry level.
Nope.
That's going to pay that.
Nope.
Right.
And you're still doing something you love. So
absolutely. Well, rugby players. I'm a huge rugby fan. Rugby players recently, the highest a rugby player will earn is just over $1 million a year. Gotcha. So in your money, that's close to 1.2 mil. That's recent. We've had professional rugby since 1996. It's just not a sport that gets paid very highly. A bit like this, like it to the CFL. It's just for some reason it just doesn't pay very well.
No, they'll get like 50 or 60,000. I mean,
and that there are people on rosters who earn that kind of money. And the thing is, it's because it's a niche sport, because it's like it's like American football, but it's not the same, and it requires a slightly different skill set. You can't just you can't just go and dominate at it. No one's ever just gone, fuck it, I'll just go be a CFL player. Because they don't want to take the money drop. But not everyone who's dominated in the CFL could just go to the NFL and just dominate. But imagine just having that thing where you can be a professional rugby player or a professional sports player, professional football player, and you're only earning 50K. 50K is not bad, man. Especially if it goes with like health benefits and things like that. I mean,
right.
It's got to be worth your money. And this is where I've been talking quite a lot about. We just had the Women's World Cup come past, and there's arguments about people arguing about the amount of money that the women should make, because they don't earn as much because of the amount of sponsorship, right? But I think one thing you've got to do is you've got to make that money that they're going to earn has to be more than they could earn in the real world. As in, just them going, fuck it, I'm going to go and I got a degree in business, I'm going to go and, I got a law degree, I'm going to be a lawyer. You kind of have to outprice that, or you have to outprice that job from an entry level, because what's the point? I can go be a lawyer for X amount of money.
Yeah.
You need to turn around and go, right, okay, you can earn enough money to keep yourself comfortable, and then when you're finished, you can go into your career. Because you got to remember, a lot of people don't realize this. And this is why NFL players struggle. They may have their degree in law or their degree in this. You come out and you're a good football player, not great, one or two Pro Bowls, decent name. You come out of the league. What do I do now? Oh, I've got a law degree. Yeah, but you're gonna have to start at the bottom of your law degree, because you haven't used your law degree in about fucking 10 years.
Right.
All right. So you can't just walk in and go, yeah, I'm the stud. It doesn't work like that. So you go from earning, let's say you were earning 500 grand a year, or even a million a year. Now you're earning 25. It's a big difference, and I think it's hard for people to cope. And the work is different. It's a different type of work mentality. It's a different type of everything, right?
Yep.
I think jobs in professional sports have to kind of cater for athletes in a way that if you want them to be professional, you've got to outprice them from the job. Oh, we'll give you 25 grand. 25 grand if you loved football, I get it. But imagine you earn 25 grand for like 10 years, and then all of a sudden they go, right, now you get to use that law degree you got, and you're like, no one's going to fucking hire me.
Nope. And I got to still start from the bottom. Yeah, like you said, bullshit. No. So that's why it is.
Pay them well, get them comfortable.
Yep.
Look after our athletes. And yes, Johnny, there are you've got a couple of good pro teams over there. I do watch I'm trying to remember what it's called. Major League Rugby. I have watched MLR a couple of times. It's a good standard, and it's really growing over there. And anytime an All Black doesn't want to play rugby anymore, they go there now.
Mm-hmm. So. And you want to discuss Jonathan Taylor? That's interesting. It's been a buzz around the Bucs community.
Bring on AJ. We both know where the Buccaneers are with money, so we both know this isn't actually going to happen.
No.
We also know that's not the actual problem. We don't have a running game problem because we need to see what it actually looks like with our starter in it. So why are we freaking out going for a guy who, let's be realistic here, AJ, he's going to be here a year because the Buccaneers can't afford. Does anyone not realize how many people we're going to feed next year? If Let's say the best will intentions, the Buccaneers do what me and you both dream. Let's go with your average scenario, which I believe was 10 wins.
Yeah.
10. You get 10 wins. Baker goes 4,000 yards. He gets 25 touchdowns, three or four rushing touchdowns, and only 12 interceptions. On the floor, we got Rachaad White, and let's bring in JT just for shits and gigs because we're going to make this beautiful case scenario. He gets 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. The linebacking core plays really well. The Buccaneers make it to the NFC Championship game and lose in an unfortunate fashion where they give up a field goal.
Yeah.
Okay, so just address it for you. No one particularly plays bad. Of the coveted free agents, you got to pay Baker Mayfield. You got to pay JT, unless you generally. And at this point, you're not going to think that Rachaad White can do it anymore because you're like, no, we've got to keep JT, right?
Thanks.
You got to pay.
Worse. That's the most important one. Worse.
I think he's got his 5th-year option if worst comes to worst as well.
Oh, okay.
Because he was drafted after we got.
He drafted 2020, but even with that, if he plays let's say he plays,
you might have to, but you've got a bit of wiggle room. You got Antoine Winfield Jr.
You definitely got to pay him.
You got to pay him, right? You got to pay Devin White. That's 5 core huge free agents.
Yes,
Buccaneers. The bigger names, I'll put this economics of football. It makes legitimately no sense. I get why you want it because he's a talented football player. He's also on the PUP list, and we don't actually know when he's going to come off it. I don't want to pay for a guy who might not be playing until week 5.
Right.
If I'm honest. And what do you do if you go, yeah, JT, where's it going to take you, brother? I'm going to let Rachaad White carry it till you're ready to go. And Rachaad White goes 100 yards, 120 yards, 89 yards. 15 yards, 100 or 150 yards, 4 touchdowns. JT, your services are no longer required, but we've already signed you, so therefore you're just making fucking money for nothing.
Right, we have to pay you, and that's what people don't realize.
It's going to be the backup.
Yes, give Rachaad White a chance. It's a disrespect because, again, we were talking about every player doesn't respond the right way. Now, we've seen Rachaad being like the guy, he's not Rojo, but you sign JT, a big name guy like that could fuck him up. It could go the opposite way. Well, JT, you can't play till week 5. But while Rachaad's playing, minutes he's messed up. Instead of the 90 and 100 yards, you're saying now because he's mentally like he can't focus because he's so busy worrying about his job. First game, 42 yards. Second game, 36 yards.
What if he gets the yard, but he fumbles a lot because he's trying to push for more yards? He's trying to get too much out.
Yeah, leave it alone. This is what good coaching come in. You have enough weapons. You have enough already in your arsenal. Canales, this is your duty now. Work with what you have. You were just with the Seahawks last year, and the Bucs have far more talent on offense than they do. So now it is your job. Take advantage of this shit. Make it work. I believe in Rashad. I just have to see more consistency, but we don't need.
He never had the opportunity, right?
Yeah,
he never had the opportunity to be consistent because he didn't have the starting job on a regular basis.
Right, and we don't need that mess. Buck fans, Jonathan Taylor's situation is not going to happen. And first of all, we need to save the money that we have. That is a priority. The guys
what if we get someone injured and we have to actually spend some money on somebody?
Yes.
Instead of going, oh, this would look really nice if we completely reshuffled the puppies and added. Because let's be real, what's actually going to happen is someone's going to end up with a shit ton of what they call it, voidable years on their contract. And if that player doesn't play well, guess what happens? You're paying for his contract every year you didn't resign him. So if you end up going, all right, we're going to take X, Y, and Z player, we're going to add a load of voidable years onto your contract, and then they don't pan out and you don't want to keep them, you're just messing yourself up for it. The voidable years thing is you only should realistically only be applied to players that you think are going to be studs in the future.
Yep.
And you've got to be pretty darn sure, because if what memory serves, Russell Gage has a lot of voidable years on his contract. The Buccaneers will not want to get rid of him anytime soon because it just does not make any financial. And he's like a million for every year, like till 2025.
Yep.
Potentially 2026. So I think I'm not worried about the RBs. And here's the thing. If he's on the pup list, no one's going to touch him. If he's generally on the pup list and there's generally something wrong with him, no one's going to waste picks, and you've got to give up something for him. So you're giving up something for somebody who potentially might be only a 1-year player for you. It's not like we're playing for a fucking championship this year. We're playing to see what this team looks like, in my opinion, right? And hopefully that is playoffs, and potentially the next year it becomes more. We're not playing. If this was the Brady years and we're like, we need fucking somebody,
that's a whole different story.
There's no Leonard Fournette on the table, then that's the kind of guy you end up looking at. Because that's the guy who puts your roster over the top if he is a stud, which he is. You know he is. But it's going to take time for him to get there. So if you go, okay, we'll bring you in, we'll trade for you, and we'll worry about the fucking problems later. We got a running back that's decent, but we're not sure about him yet. Like they were with Ronald Jones, right? They weren't sure with Ronald Jones. So they went and got a guy who they thought was more dependable, and ended up going, well, we got a two-headed monster now. But we all know the running back market has been dog shit.
Yes.
We've seen it this year. So you're going to go and sign a guy who's going to potentially, if the end of his contract, going to go, give me a shit ton more money, especially if he balls out.
Right.
You got to go, no, but we want to do running back by committee because it's cheap.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't do running back by committee.
No, I don't. And I wanted to throw this one thing out here, Chris. This is funny. Yeah, Buck fans, if you say that shit, that's another situation. Slick just told you, you don't get a guest. That's the problem. Just because don't believe all the other hype. We don't know what we're getting. Just like with Jonathan Taylor, like you said, hell, even if he gets off the pup list,
Trey Lance is at the bottom of his own fucking roster. He can't even make he just made third string.
And Purdy was balling.
And they traded everything to get him. You don't try and trade a player that's fucking class. You don't try and trade a player who's super talented. You trade a player that you need to either get rid of or you already have his future or his potential replacement already in house. So, like, for the sake of argument, let's say Savasia Dennis was fucking absolutely an absolute fucking stud, and next year, let's say we did I'll go more hypothetical. Let's say we re-sign Devin White for 2 years, and but Levante retires. Savasia comes in, does his shit, kicks the shit out of the world, and everyone's like, look, 3 more years with this guy. Then we go, okay, we're good, and then we got another guy who's already emerging. Then you look at trading a guy like, oh yeah, this guy's a stud, but if you have 2 stud running backs, you trade one of them.
Yep.
Because you might be able to get a solid corner that you actually need to start. What's the point in having a starter on the bench when you could trade him for another starter that won't be on the bench?
That can actually help your team. Yeah, it's
exactly. So Trey Lance being the bottom of his own roster does not make any difference. He's just a former first-round pick. That's all he is.
Right. You can't get stuck on names. That's the problem. Buck fans,
Josh Rosen.
Yeah, when you get stuck on a name and not the actual reality of what they can produce, that's how a lot of teams get set back. And sometimes, even if you get what you want, did you get what you want when you got what you want? Look at the Bucs with Darrelle Revis. He was so underutilized, despite him he had a decent season with Tampa, but the way he was used was disrespectful. And and we paid all that money for him for nothing. That was a waste of money. So, guys, do not always go up with the names. Oh, hold on. Another shout out. What's up, Sean? Sean Spencer in the house. Check him out.
Soften them up for us.
Yes,
let's make them go. Let's let them get another preseason loss because they don't lose.
Damn straight. I won't mind that, Sean. But yeah, I think So overall, I'm gonna guess the Bucs because of the starters. If they take care of business, I'll say this. I'm making a prediction. If they play the starters for the first quarter and the Baltimore Ravens just bullshit and only use their second and third string in the opening, I got the Bucs scoring 10 points in the first quarter. And eventually I do see the Bucs winning this game. I see the Bucs for whatever reason, because Trask, I think he's going to ball out more than usual. I see the Bucs putting up 20 points, at least 20.
I agree. I don't think it's going to be much more than 24 points in total anyway.
I'm going to go with 20.
It might be I might think it's 3 touchdowns and a field goal to completely ice the game out, which means they have to get a touchdown.
And I think the Ravens, because they don't have anybody, they're not going to play Lamar. That's stupid. So
they shouldn't, because he's a running quarterback, and
that would be so irresponsible. That would be the most irresponsible thing to do. So that's why I don't see Baltimore putting up that many points. I see Baltimore at the most putting up 9, because that's just my opinion. You got anything else, or you got any other?
I just want to talk about in practice. Out at the moment is KJ Britt. Cansey's still out with a calf. KJ Britt is out with a hammy. Antoine Winfield is currently out. Chase Edmonds is out. Kendrick Whitehead is out. Don Gardner's out with a hammy that might kind of make him struggle to make the roster if he can't get healthy in time. And of course, we know Ryan Jenkins is not playing. Back in is John Wolford. Absolute stud. Respect the shit out of that dude's game. That's got to be pretty scary. But sometimes medical staff make it look worse. It's not their fault, because they're doing what's called precautions, and they're being okay. You've got pain in your neck. We ain't taking a fucking risk. Because I've been there. We had a guy we played recently. One of my rookies made the tackle, got up, started walking to the sideline, and apparently one of my players told him he's like, "You're right," because he's holding on his neck, and he's like, "Yeah, my neck hurts," and he's like, "Get the fuck down."
That's good.
Get the
Shout
fuck
out
down.
to that guy. Shout out to that guy.
Ahil Chaudhry, leading tackler, leader in sacks. He's like, get down. So he went down. It's so funny because it did become nothing. He was fine, and he traveled home, and it was absolutely fine. But because they were checking on him and stuff, so I went and I was like, I'm a big believer. So there's a crowd of people around someone that's injured. I tend to leave them the fuck alone, because it becomes a bit of a circus, and I always tell people to fuck off. Like, come on, just let someone have their dignity. After it all kind of fizzled out a little bit, I went over and checked on him. So, you're right. And he's like, yeah. So I've got pain in my neck, but they won't let me get back up. I was like, do not fucking move. You're not allowed to move. And he's like, but I feel fine. I feel like an absolute clown. Oh, he told me to get down. I didn't even want to get down. I just had a pain in my neck. I've had it worse than this. You've had this before? Oh my God. The ambulance comes up. They check on him. They put the fucking turkey blanket,
I know what you mean.
the tin foil, the aluminum, as you call it, around him. And he's like, he's there going, this is so fucking embarrassing. And I was like, dude,
hey,
it's your neck. You only have one neck.
Yes, precaution is beautiful. Because neck injuries is why the great Mike Allstott had to retire. They had to tell him, yo, you breaking your neck, man. You gotta. When it comes to the body, especially football, this is a physical sport. Any type of sharp stings, any sensations that you feel, I'll be your guy. I say that when I used to coach the kids in Lorton, same thing. Oh, my hand's tingling, coach. How long has it been tingling? For about 10 minutes. Okay, chill out, relax, sit down. Because there's nothing worse than a guy going back out on the field thinking he's fine and then makes the situation worse.
It's not just that. You got to remember, you're looking after kids.
Yep.
You've got to, like, you don't want them getting fucked up at the age of whatever. I'm not sure what age you coached at, but it doesn't matter what age group you coach about. When you're teaching anyone under the age of 18, you don't want them to screw their fucking lives up because of a fucking football game.
No.
It's not worth it.
No, I want them to be just fine. I want you to be able to function. And that's
another game.
Yep, I tell the kids all the time, I want y'all to be able to function. I want y'all to be able to grow and be okay. You live to fight another day. And they go, okay, coach, I hear you. Some of them should give me a little, I'm like, hey. And then I show them the consequences of the injuries. They go, okay, never mind. I'm like, yeah, I thought you'd think that. Like, you can kiss that date on Saturday. Good night.
Absolutely.
So,
but yeah, just finish on that. And then I got happy 30th Mike Evans. Russell Gage is officially on HR. And the kicking battle has been won. Rodrigo Blankenship with his goggles has been sent packing. He's going to go and do some deep sea diving or some shit. I don't know. And and rightfully so, because not that I wanted him to win, because I did quite like our kicker. But he did miss I don't mind the 55 miss.
No, not at all.
I don't like the 32.
Hell, if you miss anything under 45 is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Anything you miss, if you miss anything under 45, you got to go. I'm gonna be like, nah, I can't, because you fuck us up in the regular game. That's
if a hand gets through it and it fucks up, I can live with that. But if you've just straight up missed, that's on you.
Agreed.
So the Buccaneers have brought in 2 players. They brought in, and I'm going to do my best to not butcher these names, but it's safety Richard LaCounty and Darius Williams at corner. So we'll see how those 2 pan out. I think they're going to just be Rodrigo, no good Blankenship.
Yes,
Blankenship.
Yeah, that's great.
I actually love that. That is actually brilliant. Ben's been saving that.
Ben, you got to come up with more nicknames, man. You be coming out with some nice nicknames.
He does come out with some fire, doesn't he?
Look, what you got in a little bit. You got to give us a nickname for Palmer. If he emerges as a stud, we got to find a name for him. We got to find a name for Trey Palmer. So, okay, Ben, thank you.
I think that should be the mission for the next game, which our next show will be on Sunday. It will definitely be on Sunday because we got a game to talk about.
Don't tempt me. Damn, no, Ben. I'm tempting you. Make up some nicknames. Even for the ones who are, if they're asked, you still got to come up with a nickname. Trey Palmer, saucier.
Yeah. Oh, I see what he did there.
Trey Palmer, saucier.
Oh man, we'll come up with something good.
Hell yeah. If you don't have anything else, we can wrap this up, because again, guys, we're gonna be on Sunday. So watch the Bucs Sunday against the Ravens. This is the last chance we can see. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see. You got anything else, Slick? I'm
all good, brother. I mean, I'm at my limit now, so I'm gonna close to bedtime.
Well, I'm gonna close it out for y'all. Again, first of all, thank you, Buck fans, for watching the Bucs Report the Aftermath. Again, always feel free to chime in, and we always want to give a shout out to everybody who participates. Sean Spencer, Ben Cornett, thank you. Let's see who else. I want to give thanks to everybody. Thank you, Christopher Cole again. Thank you. Here's Johnny. Thank you, Giovanni Zuzio. And again, always check out Bucs Report the Aftermath, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. You got me, AJ Turnup. Also, I will be doing my own videos on It's About Buck in Time. So check that out. Then also, when you check out the website, I have good merchandise. So always here. And yes, so again, as usual, we appreciate you. And always, go Bucks.
Go Bucks. I'll catch you soon, brother.
All right, Slick. Take care, my man.
As Sean Spencer's just asked, we will be doing a 53-man roster breakdown. Not tonight, obviously. It's a bit late for that, but we will be on Sunday for sure, because we're going to look at we want to look at the tape, we want to look at the video and see where we're at, and see who we like, and see where me and him would differ. That's what I want to see. I want to see where me and AJ differ, because there's always someone that everyone else likes a little bit more of, or likes a little bit less, likes this person a bit less. So we definitely will be doing that then. And then, of course, we'll be doing another show based off the Buccaneers cut of what, at that point, is the finished roster. So I want to thank everyone for jumping on as well, like the Ben Cornett's, Sean Spencer's, Christopher Cole. You guys always brighten up the day by adding your 2 cents worth, and Ben does need to come up with a good nickname. For me, I've got my own written piece coming out soon that Bucs Report's helping me with. So hopefully that will come out soon. It's a little bit about a little bit of an insight of what it's like to be a brick ball coach, which is what we call American football over in the UK. It's going to have my preseason, season part 1, season part 2. So it's quite in depth to kind of talk about how I felt about things, my thought about things, and a little bit of introduction about the players, the coaches, the teams that they love, and the bit of banter that goes in between, and the kind of episodic kind of lifestyle we kind of led for a while, and how things kind of shook out for me. But until then, we've got a Buccaneers football game coming up, and we got some NFL preseason coming up. But until after that, Bucks on me, Bucks on free. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucks!